welcome everyone to the regular Board of Education meeting for the School District of Waukesha. It's February 8th, 2017. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. Sue, will you please take the roll call?
William Baumgart.
Here.
Barbara Brezink. Greg Dietz.
Here.
Amanda Roddy.
Here.
Patricia Madden.
Here.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Here.
Kurt O'Brien.
Here.
Karen Reinacek.
Here.
Joseph Como.
Here. Barbara Brezink is excused tonight, Sue. And Sue, will you also please verify that the meeting's been properly posted with the media?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. We do not have bright lights tonight, and we do not have any recognitions. So we're going to dive right in to the report with our student representatives from Waukesha North. Anna and Jared, please come forward. What's happening at North?
Oh, yeah, we have a lot to talk about.
As per usual.
Okay.
All right, so first up, for drama, they put on the election this past fall. It was a political comedy, and it was widely enjoyed. It lightened the mood, especially with all the chaos that was actually going on with the real election. And there were a lot of freshmen in the show that shocked people because of their...
Yeah, so now we're in the end process of our musical Anything Goes. So I'm going to just tell you guys a brief synopsis if you don't know about it. So Anything Goes is set aboard an ocean liner where nightclub singer turned evangelist, you explain that, Reno Sweeney is en route from New York to England. Her friend Billy Crocker, which is played by myself, has stowed away to be aboard with the love of his life, Hope Harcourt. Everything seems like rainbows and unicorns until Billy realizes that Hope is engaged to a wealthy Englishman. Joining the love triangle on board is public enemy number 13, Moonface Martin, and his quite suggestive sidekick, Irma. With the help from elaborate disguises, tap dancing sailors, and some good old-fashioned blackmail, Reno and Moon join forces to help Billy in his quest to win Hope's heart. So right now we're in pre-tech week, which means we start working with acts, costumes, and pit. And acts just came from rehearsal, and we just did costumes today. It was really hectic, but it worked out. And the show opens next Thursday, which is the 16th, and it runs through the 19th. And the times for that, on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday show, it is at 7 o'clock, and the Sunday show is a matinee, so it's at 2. And the cost is $10.
Key Club, which is one of the few volunteer organizations at North, is fundraising money right now to help at a food packing event at the church of one of our history teachers.
So our Girls Talk, that's a club that we have, and today they took a field trip to GE, and they're continuing their fundraiser from last year, so they're selling fruit smoothies, fruit cups, and iced coffee every Friday morning before school in our school store.
Student Council is busy planning the Sadie's dance right now, and the theme is Yule Ball, which is the Hogwarts dance from, I believe, the 4th.
So the juniors are taking the ACT this upcoming February 28th, and there's no school for everyone else, so that's pretty awesome, being a senior, not having to go to school. Last year, everyone had to go to school, so yeah.
We lucked out with that.
Yeah.
Yearbook has sold all 500 that were pre-ordered, and it's the first year in a long time that we haven't had to worry about something like that, and they're 3/5 of the way done.
So our ski and snowboard club has been going to Alpine Valley every Friday to obviously ski and snowboard.
DECA just had their district competition a little while ago at Kettle Moraine High School, and each competitor took an online marketing test and competed in 2 role-play events. The role-play scenarios are 10-minute presentations in front of an actual adult judge, so like it's live and in person. Most students did really well, and there are 3 pairs that are advancing to state. So to buying and merchandising team events, Cameron Resset and Abby Kokel, senior pair, are going. And then both in the sports and entertainment marketing team event are Emily McGuire and May Zitsky, and Avery Marzoff and Jared Estes. And state is in Lake Geneva on March 7th to 9th, 2017.
So our dance team performed at State this following Saturday. So a couple Saturdays ago, they participated in regionals, and they took third in POMs in the region, so that sent them to state. And then at state, they took 7th place out of 14 teams, which is really good. And they're better than all the other Waukesha schools in POMs, so just saying that. And one of our seniors, Amanda Harding, for her solo, made All-State Division I.
Basketball, the girls' team welcomed a new coach, Bob Whiteford, to the program this year, and the team has improved by 3 wins so far over last year's record. And as for the boys, they've been playing really competitively in conference games, but they've had a lot more luck out of the outside.
Okay, so our boys swim and dive team is just finishing up. The JV conference meet was the past Saturday, and sectionals for the varsity is this Saturday. And so every year, the National International Swimming Coaches Association has a Team Scholar Award, and they have a gold, silver, and bronze level. Over the past 8 years, the team has done very well qualifying for award each year. So this year, our sectionals team has an average of 3.647, yes, which should qualify for a silver award.
The hockey team, which is all 3 high schools combined, has been consistently ranked in the top 10 in the state. They took first place in one of the most competitive holiday tournaments in the state. They're in close competition for the conference championship and hope to make a return to the state finals. They also, for charity-wise, started the Jim UTZ ALS Foundation and contributed thousands of dollars to ALS research through their fundraiser and created a scholarship that athletes in the co-op can contribute to. As for records, senior Ian Malcolmson has now also scored 100 goals in his high school hockey career.
So our wrestling team hosted the conference tournament this year at North. Every wrestler that competed placed in the top 6, so woo, not last place. We're going strong. So senior Drew Malicki won first place in his weight class and the first to do so since the 2009-2010 season. And John Reed took third in his weight class.
National Signing Day was last week, February 1st, and 5 of our high school students are playing football in college, and those are Adam Steingraber, Malcolm Turner, Lorenzo Henk, Kendall Gould, and Izzy Pitchford.
So our recreation and leisure class and the special ed department is starting Waukesha or WNHS Valentine's Act of Kindness. So what that's doing is it's just to acknowledge all the various acts of kindness that happen every day at North. So in the month of February, there's a wall in the 600 hallway, and we've cut out hearts that can be filled in, and then you can go up there and write in acts of kindness you see or receive each day.
Ecology Club is working once again on the butterfly gardening in front of the school, spreading recycling awareness, and they gave Christmas gifts to teachers, and they're working on green and healthy school applications and working towards an adoptive party. And if you want to follow them on Twitter, it's WNH Green Tea.
Okay, so our annual Empowerment Week is coming up, and Empowerment Week is just to promote our sense of community and togetherness at North. Planning has begun for the week of March 13th, and one event that for sure will be happening is that one day during the week, there's going to be a trip to the Marcus Majestic to see the new film Hidden Figures.
FBLA just finished up a little while ago. I think it says this past Saturday at the Regional Leadership Conference, and 3 students qualified for state. Josh Majors in Client Service, Zach Verhoff and Hunter Kapke in Business Plan. And Nate Johnson, Crystal Chewaniak, Alicia Mraz, Katie Bernstein, and Gabby Alonzo were also place winners in their own.
So on January 31st, North welcomed 12 business groups to spend a couple of hours shadowing students so they could give some input regarding how to continue to prepare students for college and careers. The feedback was great, and if you want to know more, I guess it's going to be in March's Bright Lights. So you'll hear about it then.
North's Avid chapter has been hugely successful in the recruitment process and is currently in the selection stage to make sure our first cohort will be successful. And it looks like 70 students were invited and 40 of them applied.
One of our school's improvement goals was to focus on collecting data for the 9th graders and putting in strategic strategies in place to help build foundational success and reduce failures in classes. So due to the teamwork amongst faculty, administration, students, and parents all together, the 9th grade failure rate reached an all-time low, which is 8%. In the past years, it was 15% and higher. So that's really all we have for you tonight. That was long, but thank you.
Do we have questions? Mr. Bryan.
You know, I caught the very first part of your presentation. You mean the November election was a put on?
Um,
It didn't actually happen?
I'm sure
I feel much better now.
rather it went that way.
I just want to say thank you for your presentation, and it was very good. And since you're from North High School, we happen to have in the audience one of the first attendees of North High School. Back. So, anyway, it's a very nice presentation. I appreciate it very much.
Any other questions for Jared and Anna, or should I be calling you Billy these days?
no. You can call me whatever you want.
Stay in the role.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. You guys
so
bring a
much.
lot of great energy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're at the time of our meeting where we allow citizens to address the board. As past practice, we hold that time limit to 3 minutes. And at the 2.5 minute mark, Mr. O'Brien will give a signal with 30 seconds left just to remind you to wrap up your comments at that time. We expect that all speakers to honor the time limit, to refrain from using any inappropriate language in any manner, and to be respectful in their comments. Speakers who do not meet these expectations may be prohibited from speaking to the Board of Education at future meetings. We also expect that the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the Board of Education and refrain from responding with verbal comments, cheering, applause, or other behavior that may detract from the meeting. And also to respect our speakers, please turn off our cell phones or silence them at this time. We do have one person that has signed up, Mr. Paul Reese.
Good evening. I'd like to talk about teachers that deal with IEPs, special education teachers. It's hard to think of a job more difficult than that. When you have to deal with every spectrum that's out there of disability, everything that you can think of and then some, it is a very demanding job. My wife is an assistant special ed teacher, and she was hospitalized in November because she was attacked in a different district. And I don't believe that there's all-inclusive education means all, and that in some instances there are children who are violent, and it is not a safe environment even for other students. And this ought to be taken into consideration, and it's just not. When people hide behind that all means all, then they lose perspective and common sense to remove someone that is dangerous. And it's not that the student's even aware of it. They don't do it out of malicious behavior. It's not done maliciously. And he's not at fault at all for what he did. Not aware of it. He's not cognitive of it. And they think by putting him in a math class, they're helping him out when they don't know how to use utensils. I don't know how that's merciful, sticking someone who doesn't understand something when you could teach them how to use basic utensils and how to take care of themselves. And that would be merciful. That would be educating them in something. I love the fact that there are kids with Down syndrome around, with other kids. It humanizes. Before, when they used to stick them off to the side, they weren't humanized. And I love this fact. But when it becomes a dangerous situation, even other kids, and when she was attacked, how would all the rest of the students deal with the rest of their day? They saw this happen. It takes away so much from other kids' education in that situation. And this is a very small percentage I'm talking about. I'm talking about everybody, but I'm talking about a small percentage. And we use that term, all means all, and we hide behind it. I don't know why God does these things. I have no idea. My grandfather, I talk about my grandmother a lot. My grandfather had one leg, and he lost it at 12 years old getting on the bus, which was a horse-drawn wagon at that time. And for a lot of years, he probably cursed that. But my grandfather never served in Normandy or on Iwo Jima or on Palau. So it may have saved his life, that disability. Who knows? I may not be standing here if it wasn't for that. What God's plan is his plan. I don't know. And I can't explain everything. but I do know mercy, and sticking a kid in a classroom that isn't serving him or anyone else any purpose isn't.
Is there anyone else in the audience that didn't get a chance to sign up that would like to address the board at this time? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to the minutes approval of our meeting. We have two sets of minutes for your consideration to approve. January 11th, 2017, regular board, full board meeting. And on January 23rd, we had an executive session. And those are the only two minutes that need approval at this time. Ms. Reincheck?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, second to that. Second by Ms. Roddy. Any discussion? All right, Sue, will you take the vote?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, Sue. Moving on to our communications and Waukesha Education Foundation report. Mr. Gray, do you have any communications to report on
Well,
tonight?
I think we all received a letter this evening from David Bauer, South Parent, and a very, very positive letter encouraging us to make sure we approve the dean for South High School. It's wonderful receiving letters like this from parents who are very well attuned as to what's going on at South and very supportive of what we need to do at South as well. So I would like to get more letters like this more often, but I'll take this one tonight. And I think everyone else has a copy of this as well, so.
And then this evening, typically Mrs. Brezink would give the Waukesha Education Foundation report. I don't have a report to read in her place, but I do have an announcement that I'd like to make. The Celebration of Excellence, which has been going on for years, is a fantastic event. That's going to be held on Sunday, February 26th. This year, is it?
Yes.
At
At
which
South.
year? At South.
At South.
At Waukesha South. Sunday afternoon, so Packers are done. We can all come. I think that was strategic in their planning this time around. And it's a wonderful chance to see what the students are doing with the grant monies that they receive from the Waukesha Education Foundation. Just fantastic in various educational enrichment opportunities that these children have that the Waukesha Education Foundation provides. So encourage everyone to set aside Sunday, February 26th and come on down to South.
The Brewers Racing Sausages will be there as well.
Yes, yes. Do you get to be the starter?
No, I'm gonna probably stay away from that one.
So, excellent. So I hope everyone can join us for that. Moving on to our Safety Committee report given by Ms. Roddy.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Safety Committee did not meet this morning. The meeting has been postponed to next week, Wednesday, February 18th, 9 a.m. at the Service Building.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Baumgart, will you please report out on the charter school and program report?
I will do that. The North students left and they stole some of my thunder, so I don't know what about. But anyway.
Done?
No,
Oh.
I have a couple more to go. Nice try, Joe. Comment on the Engineering Academy. You will get in the packet on Friday the full report here, but an excerpt from the Hydrothermal newsletter. That's one of the companies that Hydrothermal has had a long-standing relationship with a lot of local schools, particularly with our charter school on engineering. And in this newsletter, you will see an episode where they've worked with our Waukesha High School engineering students on some actual projects that they've given these kids to work with, and the kids will present to the engineers over at Hydrothermal, and they will be one of them will be selected as the one that they're going to implement. So read that article, it's very positive. Speaking of articles, we had a great article in the Freeman this past Tuesday about our AVID program. It clearly expressed the opportunity we provide and the positive results we are getting. I think you received an email with that attached to it, and if you haven't read it, read it. It's very strong and well done. And I'll publicly thank Lauren for that. Good job. Also, speaking about AVID, and this was brought up by the students here, as you probably have heard, the district is planning on expanding our AVID program into the North High School this coming school year. And Becky passed on some information to me just this afternoon, some of which was mentioned by the kids. I'll just go into a little bit more detail. The way they did this is they're going to start in the sophomore year. They've been looking at the freshman students at North High School now to identify people that might benefit by being in the AVID program. So North did invite 70 students to participate based on grades, attendance, behavior, leadership, academic potential, and teacher recommendation. 40 of the students that were invited did apply, and they are currently interviewing those students in order to choose the best fits for the first cohort, which will be the sophomore class in this coming September. They're going to be making the final decisions at the end of the month, and we'll be inviting approximately 25 students to join on that journey next year. So we've been constantly hearing good things about our AVID program. The North students also mentioned the Inspire program's Project Genesis, which was a big hit that was held January 31st. It's going to be an ongoing collaboration with community businesses and organizations, building reciprocal partnerships to help our students better prepare for their future while offering the organizations to benefit through service or other needs. So it's going to be a two-way street, which is big in getting a partnership. I mean, that's almost by definition what it should be. Approximately 18 organizations have expressed an interest in participating with North, and there were 11 or 12 of them that were actually at the session, and they participated in open discussions. They shadowed our students in 2 school periods so that they could see how things are done today in a high school, and the feedback was phenomenal. They were very impressed on a number of levels in what we're doing and what they saw there. I didn't hear any negative comments. I mean, they had a couple of ideas, but I wouldn't put them as negative comments. And you will be hearing more of this, as they told you, in our March Bright Lights. And lastly, I just wanted to point out, again, in your packet on Friday will be a newsletter type of a thing from Jeff Peterson over at Summit View discussing the background of magnet schools, and I think you might find that interesting, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baumgart. Appreciate that. Moving on to the consent agenda portion of our meeting. Mr. Clark, do we have any gifts to report out on?
Yes, 3 gifts tonight. Aries Industries donated $3,500 to the Waukesha MAID program for the purchase of equipment, supplies, and other resources. Resistance Exteriors donated $500 to Butler Middle School to sponsor their Color Craze fundraiser fun run on Saturday, May 6th, 2017. And Les Paul Middle School received $4,000 from Paul and Kathleen Oman for another $4,000 in matching gifts from Northwestern Mutual.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for those generous gifts, those donations. We appreciate that very much. Your agenda, consent agenda before you includes various categories for approval. If any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, you will have that opportunity in a bit. Included in the items for approval are the decisions of the expulsion panel, which met on January 23rd, 2017. A confidential communication regarding the details of the expulsion was in your Friday packet, along with the minutes under item 1G. If any board member wishes to discuss this item, we have scheduled an executive session at the close of the regular meeting. Approval of the consent agenda confirms full board agreement with the expulsion panel's action. Is there any board member at this time that would like to set an item aside for separate consideration? Mr. O'Brien?
I'd like to set aside the expulsion panel action until
Okay.
executive session.
So approval of the consent agenda will not include that at this time. So, Ms. Madden, will you please present the consent agenda for approval?
President, earlier this evening, the Human Resources Committee approved 10 retirements, 7 resignations, 9 leaves of absence, 9 new teacher contracts, 5 administrator contracts, and 46 middle management contracts. The information was provided in your packet, and an addendum was placed on your desks. Mr. President, I move that the consent agenda be approved as amended.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Baumgart. Discussion? Just taking a look at the list of resignations and retirees. Wow, some outstanding people that have been with the district a long time, and ones that, again, I know my children were greatly influenced by, and have a tremendous amount of respect for, and still stay in touch with a lot of the teachers. Too many to list here, but they've all really served our district well for many, many years. Thank you for that service that you brought to the district. So I wish it wasn't such a long list at times. Any other discussion? Okay, Sue, will you please take the roll call vote?
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, Sue. Moving on to Superintendent Gray, Superintendent's Report.
Thank you. First item, we've got a couple of, I wanted to see the latest brochures that we are using for the Engineering Academy. And I think what's the thicker one with fewer pages, if you want to get an idea what kind of projects they're working on in the middle section there. I mean, those are just some of them, but they're just a wonderful job over there. I was over there today looking at some of the projects they're doing, and each time I go over there, they have more and more apparatus for these kids to get some engineering experience on. So, and as you know, we'll be getting another report on that in the future, but our Engineering Academy had one of the very highest state report cards scores at the state. So we're doing great things there. And we've got a lot of industry support as well. If you look at the back of it, you can kind of see the companies that have been supporting what we do with the Engineering Academy. Coming soon is the brochure for the Health Academy. They didn't have it ready for this evening, but I was told that will be coming soon too for you to look at. The second item is the DPI's promotion of career technical education. This is becoming a bigger and bigger issue at the state level in terms of trying to provide opportunities for students. We have the state mandated ACP, but I think in this district where we have a very strong CTE program, this really fits as to what we're trying to do. And if you look on that first page, we've talked about the college and career readiness, the readiness.org program that is kind of an initiative across the nation. We are looking at the same things here, trying to develop some standards, develop some industry certifications, so that when students leave us, if they are not planning on going to college or technical school, they can leave with a marketable, employable skill. So I won't go through all this tonight, but there's a lot of good information, and I'm really happy that the DPI is taking a bigger role and a bigger interest in this. And I've said before, I think this kind of work also needs to be somehow included on our state report card, because this is an important, these are important programs for our students, and we don't really get any credit for it, for what we do as a district on that state report card. So hopefully this will be the start of that. And one other item, Ms. Landish and Mr. Cook and I met with the representatives from UW-Whitewater to put the final touches on our very own School District of Waukesha master's degree. We're looking at a 30-credit master's program for regular ed and a 36 credit master's for special ed. These are tailored for teachers to use our initiatives to work with our students, and in many cases, the work that our teachers are already doing will be found in these particular master's programs. So we're really excited about this because it gets done what we need to get done here in our school district. So we're just about ready to roll that out. I think there's a few more T's to cross and I's to dot, but pretty good meeting today. Very, very positive all the way around, so.
So, Mr. Gray, is that something that's more common these days? Or are we kind of bleeding edge on this?
There are a few districts that are doing this. I think we will probably have the biggest, the biggest program in the area, given the number of our teachers who are interested in a master's that really speaks to what we're trying to do here in Waukesha. So, but I do know Mugwanago has a similar program, and I think there's a few other smaller districts that are doing this. But, I don't know anyone who's got both the regular ed and the special ed program. So I think, we know that special ed staffing is harder and harder to come by. We're hoping that this can give people some opportunity to get some other certifications and hopefully begin to grow that pool of special educators.
Sure. Mr. Cook? Oh, I thought you wanted to comment. Well, I guess you don't have to comment. I thought I heard a ooh, ooh back there.
You're losing it there, Joe.
I guess. I'm hearing things.
Joe, would it be better if he sat right next to you so you could hear him better next
Yeah,
time?
come on up. Mrs. Reinacek.
Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback on what Todd was talking about with the Waukesha Engineering Preparatory Academy flyers. I was able to pass these out this morning at a business meeting for business leaders, CEOs, all sorts of professionals this morning. And I've been getting emails back all day about what we were talking about this morning, about how we are connecting students with careers and that they are ready for their workforce. We keep hearing that students are not, and I was able to tell them that what we are doing in Waukesha. So I'll pass
Getting
those on
word
to-
out on what we're doing is really important, and we're doing some good stuff. And it's good to hear that positive feedback coming back to us. Mr. Dietz.
Mr. Gray, for the programs at UW-Whitewater, are those courses offered in this district, or are teachers going to Whitewater?
I believe they will be here. There might be some where they have to travel to Whitewater, but for the most part, they will send instructors here, and in some cases, some of our well-educated staff here will also be serving as adjunct professors as well. So that's it.
Okay,
That's my
thank you,
report.
Dr. Gray. Moving on to where we do all the heavy-duty lifting is in our committees, and we'll hear from our committee chair people tonight. Tonight, we will start with the policy committee given by Mr. Baumgart.
Okay. Well, this goes into the category of time flies when you're having fun, right? About a year ago, Joe Cook came up with the concept of talking to this company, Neola, about doing essentially a complete audit of our policy packet. And we have now, over the course of we have an action item on this. Over the course of the last year, we have really dug through that policy packet. Beginning last summer, the policies have been reviewed by administration, by the policy committee, by some of the board members, doing and redoing and making sure we were in compliance all the way through. On January 17th, the policy committee approved the entire series 0000 through 9000 to be brought forward to the board for full approval. We had, in two pieces, we brought them in for the first reading in December and January. So at this point, after the year that we have passed looking at these things, I would like to move for approval of the policies as presented.
Is there a second to that? Second by Mrs. Reinacek. Discussion?
That's good to hear.
Well, we've had a lot of discussion over the last year, so
We beat this up pretty bad.
if you're new to watching these meetings, you wouldn't know that we had that
That's true.
year-long discussion many times. So, and that's why we do so much of this work in committee, is to really vet that out. But we've never audited all of our policies before, so I actually feel quite good about that process, even though it was a long process and quite involved.
Yes, and I think it's important that we recognize that this will continue to be a dynamic process, not static. We already know that some of the policies will be brought back for review and consider not really necessarily changing the policy, but changing some of the wording or changing some of the criteria that's within it. And I'm going to, in a minute, I'm going to ask Joe to give you some what's next kind of pieces to this. So,
Okay. Mrs. Reincheck.
My only question is, what should we do with that foot-tall pile of papers?
I have an answer, or actually, Bill, I'll let you answer
well,
that.
a couple ideas. You could sit there and tear them apart one by one. No, we will have. In fact, Joe's going to talk about what we need going forward, and you don't need those anymore. I would suggest you drop them off here, and we can put them in the official shredder arrangement. So that's what we can do with them. You don't need them anymore. I know some people would like to keep paper forever and ever and ever, but it's no longer necessary.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Sue, please take the roll call vote.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0.
Well, thank you for that and for all of you participated in going through this. It's been a project, but it's been very worthwhile. I would like now Joe to take a couple minutes to explain where we go starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow, what is our current policy manual on the district website, if I could just, help orientate you to that. Those policies will be taken down tomorrow morning, and it's going to be replaced with a under construction tab and a contact Lynn Cummings if you have a policy question. We do have a full policy manual. It exists electronically in PDF. Neola has said to us that it's going to be about a 2-week before it is electronically published. So that link will become active in about 2 weeks. In that time, we have an active policy manual, and any policy questions are going to go to Lynn. She can provide anybody who requests a policy the paper copy, so it would be electronically distributed PDF. From that, we have a policy meeting coming up. We have about 1-inch high stack of policies from Neola that the committee will begin to entertain through what is required again from federal and state law changes. We will begin that discussion this month and in the months ahead. So the policy committee will continue to function as it has. Policies will be brought forward. The committee will review them. Those policies will be brought to the board, back to committee, back to the board for approval. In addition to that, we're going to begin the work on administrative guidelines. We have some tentative dates coming up towards the end of March, beginning of April, where we're going to begin the administrative guideline work.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Joe, for that. Oh, Mr. O'Brien?
Regarding the old policy manual that's being taken down, I think we should make sure we have that archived. And only because if we ever run into a situation where the new one that, we've given a lot of leeway, rightfully so, and trust in the new one being similar to the old one but properly managed and controlled, that if someone has a question about the new policy manual, they can refer back to the old policy manual, and we can compare and have confidence that something wasn't missed or unintentionally missed.
Agreed.
If I may respond to that, we are going to have all of the old policies archived along with the templates that we considered, along with the the redlined working drafts, and then we will have published the final copies. So we will have that electronic history.
Yeah, but just to make it easy, the exact copy that's currently online without red lines, without anything else, just, I don't want it cluttered up with a bunch of stuff where I have to kind of figure out what used to be there, even though I know that
We'll be there.
what you're doing is a good idea,
I
but.
think I heard you say it will all be there, including a clean copy.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
gotcha. All right, Mr. Baumgart?
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on to our next committee report, which is a technology committee given by Mr. McCaffrey.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Technology Committee of the Waukesha Board of Education met on Wednesday, January 18th, 2017. There were no action or information items on the agenda, but we did have 3 discussion items with multiple sections under each. The committee received an update on 3 upcoming projects. The first update we received regarded the Waukesha 1 conference, which has already been held. It was held on Monday, January 23rd, 2017 at Waukesha West High School. The conference had over 160 sessions, with most being presented by Waukesha School District staff. The keynote speaker of the conference was Tony Vincent. We also received an update regarding connecting the planetarium to the district's fiber network. Currently, the planetarium is on the county's T1 line. Adding the planetarium to our network will increase internet speed, allow for the use of district phone extensions, add the planetarium to the district's Wi-Fi network, and support any future projection upgrades. Currently, I believe the phone system, when it's called or when it calls out, says Waukesha County on the caller ID. We also received an update on the technology department looking at upgrading our data center to a hyper-converged system, which will allow for more consolidation, increased reliability, and simplified support. Moving on, we received an update on 4 current projects. The Waukesha 1 ongoing project, which we receive an update on at every meeting. We reviewed the iPad replacement schedule, which began the week after the Waukesha 1 conference. We will also be switching to a local app store, which will allow us greater control over the apps that are downloaded onto our devices. And the technology department is also planning on conducting a parent survey related to the use of iPads and the openness of said iPads. Our current video surveillance project is continuing to move forward. All the secondary schools have been completed, and the elementary schools will be coming online over the next 2 months. Training has been completed for the administrative staff, the SROs, and county and city police. We also received an update about our data environment, and the data environment encompasses all of the data that we collect and send out. The new state reporting system is called WISE Data, and it has replaced 2 of the older systems at the state. We are now directly connected with the new state system through our Infinite Campus Student Information System. The WISE-Local, which is a data set that we are kind of in a group with local districts, continues to increase, and we have just added the RTI and the early warning features to that system. The WISE-Local system was rolled out to all teachers after the Waukesha 1 conference. Our own system, which is called the Data Lake, which is where we keep all of the data from just this district, we just added the ability to archive internet browsing histories from within the district. And the district's new website has been released. I think you should go and look at it. It's a lot more user-friendly than the old one, and we will have a lot more information, and it'll be easier to navigate. We will also start working on the individual school site conversions shortly. And our last update was for our completed projects. The door access project has been completed and is now operational in all district buildings. And barring any question, that concludes my report.
And these are discussion items, so
Sure.
if anyone has questions or comments. Ms. Reincheck?
Thank you. So when you say door access, those badges that we had printed for us, are we supposed to slide them? Because we still have to punch in, we still have to call the office to be let in. So when you
Well,
say
how it
this is
works,
complete?
the badges work like this. You have, and I was under the impression that board members were listed on every building. Every building has its own list of people that have access to it. So what you do is, in the system, the Steve Schomer or someone in the tech department would actually add you to the list, and then your badge will work. But Steve told me that we were on all, we were listed on all buildings.
It works.
right?
You don't have to slide it, you just actually put
Just
it,
hit, you just
put it in
whack
front of it.
Yeah.
Just put it in front of that little
The
strip.
pad?
Right here.
Works fine.
Yeah, that thing.
Doesn't work?
I actually just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, just flash it in front of it and it'll
Just
hit the
flash in front
barcode.
of it, you should hear the door click and,
So you've been using it, Bill?
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the little panel will turn from red to green, and then you
Yeah.
know that it's working.
right.
Okay,
That's-
But we should be listed on all the buildings.
okay.
But every door doesn't have that.
Right.
Now it does, right?
No.
No.
Every door in a given school, every door does not have that.
No, but at every
Some
school, the main door has it,
Yes.
right? Now,
The main door,
Except for north, but otherwise,
North is not that way. It's
right.
Yeah.
You have to go through a secret door that they hide someplace else. I don't know where it is.
I'm gonna try it. I'll get back to you, Bill.
good question. So you weren't having a problem accessing the buildings?
I hadn't tried,
Okay,
but now knowing that they're all complete, I wondered what that meant.
okay.
Oh,
The pads are in, and everybody who is supposed to be on the list for those buildings have been added to the list.
Mr. McCaffrey, was there any discussion on board members having access and training to the dashboard,
To the.
the WISE Dash?
The WISE
Or
Dash?
maybe just to the data lake here? I'm not sure.
Yes. There's been some talk about having some of that data on the website where it can be searched, where you have access to
Oh, okay.
it through the.
Not only
district
board
website.
members, but the general public?
No, well, the general public would be a little bit more difficult because you'd have to disguise some of the information.
Right.
That's attached to, some of it's attached to students. But
Right.
There has been talk where there would be a separate login for administrators. And, yeah, we did discuss.
Is
whether
there
the
something
board
planned
members
for the
should-
board or not, or it's still on the horizon?
Yeah,
or-
Steve said that the board would definitely be included. We looked at it, we went through it. I mean, it's very interesting.
I don't know that I would say it's planned yet, but
No.
it's out
Okay.
there.
We did talk about it,
Okay,
that it could be easily done.
yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Any other questions of Mr. McCaffrey?
Thank you very much. That concludes my report.
Thank you, appreciate it. Moving on to our Finance and Facilities Committee, chaired by Mr. O'Brien.
Yeah, the technology report was unusually long tonight, so I'll try to move mine right along.
Because I think I'm up after that. Sooner you can get to me, the better.
Yeah, we were fortunate. The meeting moved pretty fast. We only had 4 members there that night, so it went really quick. We had 2 action items.
Who was missing?
Nice. I don't know, but we should get rid of that guy.
First action item was approval of the 2016-17 budget amendment. At the time the budget is adopted, the budget contains the administration's best estimates of the district's revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year. As the year proceeds, additional information becomes available that impacts the sources available to the district and the planned uses of district funds. In December of 2016, the district received the final OPEB settlement payment totaling $5,565,000. This amendment reflects the increase in revenue and adjusts the debt service payment in Fund 38 to reflect the early payoff of the OPEB debt, and in doing so, authorizes the administration to proceed with paying off this OPEB-related debt. The committee approved the 2016-17 budget amendment as presented, and I so move.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Ms. Madden. Discussion? Mr. Bryan?
I'd just like to note that it was approved 4-0. There were no objections to paying off the OPEB debt.
All right, Sue, please take the roll call vote.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, and it's good to have that finished. Mr. O'Brien?
Yes, I'm glad Mr. McCaffrey had a chance to vote on it.
I appreciate that.
Wow. He misses almost no meetings, so I have to have a little fun with
I know.
him. So, 2, approval of the transportation contract. Since last fall, the district has been in conversations with First Student to see if a mutual agreement could be reached on a new multi-year contract. At last month's meeting, the committee asked that language be added to the agreement to protect the district if resident enrollment or funding would decrease. A 5% threshold was used for each. This language has been agreed upon and added. You can see that in section 10 for payment services. The agreement calls for base rate increases of 2.65% in year 1, 2% in years 2 through 5. It also recalibrates the efficiency clause to put greater incentive of realizing and maintaining effective route management. The five-year agreement runs from 2016 to 17 to 2016-17 to 2020-21. The committee approved the five-year transportation agreement on a 4-0 vote as presented, and I so move.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Reinacek. She beat you to it, Ms. Madden.
Right, all right.
Discussion.
Speak up. Can't hear that.
Mr. O'Brien.
So for those who didn't have a chance to see the workings of the committee for the last 3 months, this is brought, and by the way, thank you, Mr. Clark, for your work on this activity. We've had tremendous savings by going to first student that we've accrued to the district. The way we've written it is to protect the district from declining enrollment, but also encourage additional savings be realized above and beyond the previous savings. Those were the primary issues that we added to the contract in order to justify it being a five-year contract.
Any other questions or comments on the recommended new bus contract, amended bus contract? Okay, Sue, please take the roll call vote.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0. And just real quick, Mr. Clark, roughly how much have we saved with the new contract each year?
The district's saving from our old costs about $1 million per year. So this is the third year with first students, so we've saved $3 million during that time.
Does that include the fuel, the change in fuel, or is that
Yeah, that's
even
all
additional?
That's all encompassing.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Mr. O'Brien.
Okay, and I'd also like to thank the committee for all the contributions and fine work on those two action items. We have information items. We have 4 items in front of us. The monthly budget report. The committee was presented the budget report for the month of January. $37,020,155 was reported in the general fund revenue, and $9,028,142 was expended during the month. $1,205,542 was reported in the special education fund revenue, and $2,140,561 was expended. The district is operating in accordance with our budget projection in other areas. The second information item was the Neola guidelines. As you heard tonight, last year the board approved a motion to secure the services of Neola to review and update the district's policies. As part of the deliberations on the initial approval to utilize Neola's services, the committee board asked that the issue be brought back before proceeding with development of the administrative guidelines. There appears to be a consensus that Neola brought a high level of service and expertise to the development of the revised policies. Unless there are concerns to the contrary, the administration plans to move ahead with the development of the administrative guidelines. Third item was the South High School cafeteria project. The committee reviewed the results of the request of the proposal, RFP, for the South High School cafeteria project. 8 firms were sent RFPs and 7 completed a proposal. The administration is recommending J.F. Findorf with a final budget being presented in March for approval. The fourth information item was prescription benefit management service. Jeff Schultz with Beneco and Melissa Beck, district benefits coordinator, shared a prescription benefit management review with the committee. Over the last several months, the district has been actively marketing our PBM services. The item will be brought back in March with a recommendation, and we're looking at savings up to as much as $400,000 possibly or more in is being communicated to us by Beneco, which is our. For discussion items, there are none. So, Mr. President, that does conclude my report.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Appreciate that. Our next committee report is teaching and learning, and Mrs. Brezink is absent tonight, but Mr. McCaffrey will be picking up that report. Back to you, Mr. McCaffrey.
Once again, thank you very much, Mr. President. The Teaching and Learning Committee of the Waukesha Board of Education met on February 7th, 2017 at 6 p.m. There are no action items that appear on the agenda for teaching and learning tonight. We have 1 information item and 1 discussion item this evening. The information item was related to Sunday reading update. At our meeting last night, Jason Gahan and 3 special education teachers provided an update on the status of the Sunday reading system training and implementation. The adoption of the Sunday reading system for the special education department was initially brought to the board's attention in June of 2016. Teachers kicked off the school year by assessing their respective students with the Sunday system, which provided the teachers with a wealth of information as to the specific skill set of each student and ultimately where to begin instruction to positively impact the phonics and spelling skills of our students with disabilities. Our discussion item centered on student achievement update at Rose Glen Elementary School. Last night, Principal Melissa Nikolic and her team highlighted the achievement gains that have been made at Rose Glen Elementary. Additionally, they highlighted the success of team teaching at Rose Glen and the initial efforts of teachers to begin to build global competency through their investigations of the world and commitment to taking action. Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the Teaching and Learning Committee report. Our next meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 7th, 2017.
The last item was a discussion item. Is there any other comments or discussion on what was presented at Rose Glen? Mr. Bumgart?
I thought the comments on the international aspect of what they're doing, incorporating and integrating that with their reading and writing workshops was very impressive. The kids really seem to get into trying to understand what goes. Each grade level has a different, I shouldn't say country, but a part of the world that they're looking at, and doing their research and writing and reading on something specific like that, and you could see the enthusiasm.
Broadens their horizons quite a bit, I'm sure. Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions?
Very good. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you for filling in for Mrs. Brezink. Appreciate that.
Love doing it.
Moving on to Human Resources given by Pat Madden.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item is approval of the recommended candidate for the position of Hillcrest Elementary School principal. The administration is recommending Faith Lincecum for the position of Hillcrest Elementary School principal. Faith Lincecum is a highly regarded professional who is genuine and caring in her current role as elementary math coach at Hawthorne STEM and Randall STEM. She is very familiar with the Waukesha mission and vision, SAIL goals, and overall instructional practices of the district. She has been in the district since 2000. She has a skill set that allows her to activate talent in those around her. She helps teachers reach their goals, and she constantly wants to grow as a learner as well. She recognizes the big shoes she will be filling and stated that she is humbled by the opportunity to take on the transfer of care that is required for this position. Faith is student-centered, and her compassionate spirit made everyone confident that this was the perfect fit for the next principal at Hillcrest. A confidential recommendation and resume were included in your packet. Salary and benefits will be according to middle management policies. I move to approve the appointment of Faith Lincecum to the position of Hillcrest Elementary School principal.
Second to that motion, second by Mr. Bumgart. Discussion? Mrs. Ryanchek.
I just want to say I can't think of anyone more perfect for the job.
I see a lot of heads nodding on that one, so. All right. Sue, why don't we take the roll call vote on our new principal, potentially our new principal for Hillcrest Elementary School.
Tricia Madden.
Aye.
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0, and congratulations to Faith. Look forward to having her in that new leadership capacity.
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Madden. Moving on to compensation, do you have anything to report, Ms. Madden, on
We
that?
will be meeting in a couple weeks. in the process of scheduling a.
Okay, thank you.
I have on my, this is right, as 11, we have reconvening to open session. Is that what we want?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Super.
we do have a few things under other business first to take care of.
Okay.
So at this time, I'd be looking to see if there's anybody who would like to recommend items to be agendized for full board meetings, or any items that you might want to direct to committee chairs for future meetings. All right. All right, seeing none. We do have a need to go into executive session for item B and item C. Would someone be willing to make that motion? Yes.
You want to do these separately, or we have to come back to open session for one of them, right?
Yeah, potentially for both of them. So I think we
Well, that's right, it
can, we
would
can
be
do
both.
them together. I
Okay.
think we can have the closed sessions
Yeah, I think we can
together,
discuss.
and then we can come back into open session at that time.
I'll make the motions then.
Okay, Mr. Bloomberg?
I would think we'd probably have to vote on them individually, though.
Yeah.
I will move for adjournment to executive session per Wisconsin statutes 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses F, and 120.13, parentheses 1, parentheses C, to review actions of expulsion panel.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. O'Brien. Sue, will you take the roll call vote on that?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
Aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0. Bill?
I will also move to adjourn to executive session per Wisconsin statutes 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C, to consider employment promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data on any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Reinacek. Sue, will you take the roll call vote on that?
William Baumgart.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Karen Reinacek.
Aye.
Kurt O'Brien.
Aye.
Amanda Roddy.
Aye.
Greg Dietz.
Aye.
Patricia Madden.
aye.
Joseph Como.
Aye. Passes 8-0. So the way this will work is we will go into closed session for these two items, and we will reconvene when we're into open session when we are finished. I'm not sure even how to guess at what that time would be. Maybe 30 minutes, but don't hold me to that crystal ball guess. So if you want to hang around for the when we reconvene into open session, feel welcome to stay. Not in the room, but stay outside of the room. So thank you very much. Can we take 5 minutes?